everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Dr. Rich. My name is Dr. Rich, and this is my twin brother, Rylan.
Right to the most, for those who know me.
Yes, and today we will be discussing tough conversations and tips on how to deal with conflict and how to resolve conflict. In our lives, we're all different people. We come from different backgrounds. We have different opinions, different ideas, and conflict is going to happen. But when it happens, we don't want to let it fester. We don't want to live in a way where we don't live in peace. We want to live in peace. So we want to just discuss some tips on how to resolve conflict, how to deal with it, and we'll go from there. Basically, what prompted this conversation is that we recently watched the interview between Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. And, I've been a big fan of Kobe Bryant since I can remember.
Listen, hold on. When you talking about Froby, okay, I'm talking about number 8 flying through the air. And then he'd go ahead and switch it up to 2-fold, one above Jordan.
Yeah. So, we've been fans of Kobe Bryant for a long time. Forever. Yeah.
Let me do the LA sign. Oh, wait. There you go.
Yeah.
LA, baby.
Yeah. So, we and Shaq, and they're both talented men, and they've accomplished a lot in their careers in basketball. So we were really excited to see them sit down and have this conversation, because we remember when they were beefing and when they had those disagreements and those disappointments. Yeah. And they had that conflict with each other. So to see them sit down and allow us, the world, to also witness them make peace and have this conversation was really awesome. For me to watch, and I'm sure for Rylan to watch as well. So we just want to talk about some things that happened in their conversation that we can implement in our lives if we have conflict, as well as just talk in general.
And I just want to say this real quick. For those who don't know, Kobe and Shaq has to be the best big and small duo of all time. I know
don't start that beef.
I know people want to say Magic and Cap. I know people want to say Jordan and Pippen, even though they were like base 2 smalls. They would be though. But any duo,
I think they're all great.
I think they're all great. I'm not.
I like how Kobe said it in the interview. He said, of course, if you talk to either one of them, they're gonna each say they were great. But they were all great in their time.
You can't
really settle for that.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me say this. You can't mix generations because it's not fair. But I'm gonna say this: Kobe, Shaq in their prime together, they have 3 rings. They should have got 4, but Detroit.
Yeah, whatever. It happened.
I'm not gonna go
there. Again, we respect
Lakers
everyone.
Forever.
Yeah, we respect them. We respect all their talents, and I like your passion. So it is, it is what it is.
Probe bring it back.
Yes. So today we're gonna just start with, if you have a conflict with someone, number 1, you want to pray about it. You want to pray before you meet with them. You want to ask God to give you the proper words to say, the right words to say, the right tone to have, and also for you to have a receptive heart, and for that other person or those people to also have a receptive heart. So number 1, begin in prayer. And timing is everything. You don't want to rush anything too soon before you're ready. Because if we look at Kobe and Shaq, they're both older now. They're more mature. Yeah. They're both retired. So they were at a point in their lives where they were ready to sit down and have this conversation. So you want to make sure that you are at a point where you're ready and receptive and ready to make peace, because you don't want to do it too soon, because then you're not ready and your emotions may be high and you may not be at the point where you're ready to actually sit down with that person or those people.
And I was going to say this. Number 1, you have to go to God in prayer and allow Him to open your mind and your heart to be able to see both sides. Yeah. But you have to also do some self-reflection, okay? Because a lot of times I feel like us as people, we can only see the people that's on the outside. But sometimes you have to look inside and say, you know what can I do to hopefully be better? You know what I'm saying? Because in any situation, in any relationship, nobody's perfect, okay? Mm-hmm. We all have issues. We all have our own things that we deal with. And at times, I think, we can kind of see the splinter in somebody else's side, but not see the beam in ours. So
yeah.
I think that's also that. I think that has to go hand in hand with first praying and then understanding that, you have to do some self-reflection. So
that's so true. And I like that, Rylan, because I think when you go to have that meeting or that conversation with that person, you want to come with an open heart and an open mind, like you said, because you know that you may have done something to offend someone and you not even know it.
True,
and you don't want to just go to just argue or to attack, or you don't want to be defensive. You want to come from a place of peace. I'm here to make peace, and I'm ready to listen. And that person may tell you things that you done to them or said to them that you may not even know offended them, or you just kind of caught off guard with it. But even if they say it, you want to be receptive and not be defensive. Listen is the biggest key. You have to don't interrupt them, don't attack them or take everything that they say as an attack, but just say, be able to accept and be able to see their reflection of you. And that's kind of hard sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's very hard. But you know what? I'm gonna say something because it was one time I remember I was watching Martin, and I believe him and Gina had gotten an argument.
Okay.
And they said, you know what? We're gonna sit down. We're gonna write about what we have an issue with each other.
Yeah.
And I think Gina had messed around and like wrote down like a 10-page letter, and Martin did too. 4-page. You know what I'm saying? But they both wrote down like a long list of everything. And so before they got started, when they got started, Martin was like, you know what? At the end of the day, let's switch. That's what he was like, man, let's switch and let's see. No, I'm gonna give you mine first. So she looked at it and it just said like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Oh, that was cute.
So and so he was like, baby, at the end of the day, regardless of what we go through, I love you. But her on the other hand, she put down like, man, you lift the toilet seat up, you know the deodorant everywhere. I hate the toothpaste everywhere. So I just feel like that's something about dealing with conflict. Sometimes again, you have to really in my mind, I would say this: when I have a conflict with somebody, I want to find a beauty in what they really bring to me, right? Into my relationship, what they bring into my life. So because
I like that.
If you bring it to the beauty, the dark side or the ugly side, it outweighs it. You know what I'm saying? Now, if it doesn't, that's a whole other conversation that we'll have with Dr. Rich. But I would say if you can find the beauty in people, then a lot of times that can take away the conflict.
That's true. And I like that, Rylan, because even if looking at Kobe and Shaq, they definitely mentioned each other. They complimented each other during the interview. They were like, Shaq said, well, Kobe, you were a great player. And he said the same thing. He was like, man, you were a great player. So them being able to acknowledge their strengths and compliment each other, that helped because it's bitterness is always sweet with honey. Bitterness can go down very smoothly. And even if we look at the Apostle Paul, like our dad said, how when he's in the Bible and you read some of the books that he wrote to the different churches, he always started off with something positive, and then he'll go into, the reason I'm writing this letter is that we may need to work on this. So whenever we're dealing with conflict with someone, definitely always give them the positive first, and then go into, I think we can do this better, especially if you're a manager or you're in a leadership role at your job. Definitely start with the positive and then go into what we need to work on.
But you know what, my biggest thing also with the positive, don't gas me. That's my thing. Like I like staying.
I like
staying on E. You know what I'm saying? E stands for excitement. So I would say this. I'm like, if you're going to start with positive, let it be genuine. Genuinely tell that person, the beauty of what they bring to the table. And when you start with that, that person's going to recognize that. They're going to say, man, dang, I appreciate that. And then like my beautiful Dr. Rich.
Stop it. Handsome.
That's telling us, no sugar and honey goes down a lot better than vinegar and bitter. If you want to talk to me, if somebody has a conversation with me, please throw a little sugar.
Yes.
Give me just a tad bit.
Because we all love compliments and we love to have our ego stroked. That's just human nature. But we're not perfect. I think also don't be afraid to make the first move.
Oh yeah.
I think so many times pride, anger, fear can stop us from having these tough conversations and trying to resolve conflict because we may be scared. We don't know what the person's going to do. We may be afraid that they may react in a way that we don't like, or we just angry about it. And we're just like, no, I don't even care. We don't even have to be friends no more. We don't have to be in this relationship. And you just get to the point where you're like, okay, wait, let me chill. Let me try to live in peace with this person, because at the end of the day, God wants us to live in peace.
Well, I want to say I have a quote from a great philosopher. Her name is Mary Poppins. A little sugar makes the medicine go down.
That's real.
I'm just being totally honest with you. Like, I don't know about too many, but I don't like medicine. So, you give me a little sugar, So,
true.
you know, you think about that.
That's true. And if we look at the scripture, Romans chapter 12, verse 18, it says, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. So God wants us, if we can, to live at peace with everyone. Yeah. So that's from the people we like, the people we kind of like, and the people we don't like. Even, you know, we have to love our enemies. That's and these are things that we're saying is, you know, it's easier said than done. But we want to try to live in peace and resolve this conflict if we can. If we also look at Hebrews chapter 12, verse 14, it says, make every effort to live in peace with everyone and to be holy. Without holiness, no one will see the Lord. So once again, it's mentioning about peace. So it's important for us to try to resolve these conflicts in our lives. And we want to definitely apologize too. Don't be afraid to apologize. Like sometimes you just have to say, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry can open so many doors that you can just be like, man, like and y'all become like the best of friends, or y'all really start to be a positive influence in peace in each other's lives, even though y'all started in conflict. So just saying that simple, because I love how Shaq apologized to Kobe in the interview. You know, he was like, man, you know, you could have taken this trophy home, or, you know, I think they said they were going to mail it to him or something. I don't know. But he said, but Kobe humbled himself and gave it to Shaq and was like, hey, man, take it, you know. And I feel like, and Shaq had to say, he was like, man, I don't want no tears in them, but I'm going to say I'm sorry because I was going through something at the time. And that's a beautiful thing, because sometimes we do not know what other people are going through. And our simple I'm sorry, or our simple act of humility or act of just compassion and love for the person can change their lives. And you don't know what your little small act of kindness, it could be small in your eyes, can be so big to them.
Right, you're right. And, well, I was gonna say this. I know one thing when you talk about conflict, the first thing I begin to think about, what would Jesus do? You know, I just be totally honest with you. I know you remember how they had
I remember the bracelet.
The little bracelet.
I remember.
We bring that back.
We do.
Can we get a retro? I would say, what would Jesus do? You know, when you're going into anything, you have to ask yourself, take self out of it, and ask yourself, what would Jesus do? You know what I'm saying? You know, I know some people say, well, Jesus, turn over table. I understand this, it was for a reason.
But it was a different reason.
It was a different reason.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have another conversation with Dr. Rich about that. But the big thing is this, what would Jesus do? So, you know, when you go into any type of, a great situation or a bad situation, what would Jesus do? Because at the end of the day, we're always thinking about how can we live for God in our lives.
And as Christians, we want to definitely have love. You know, like even when God talks about love, it's the greatest thing, to love God with all our strength, all our heart, all our mind, all our soul, and then to also love our neighbor as ourselves. And, you know, Jesus took it a step further when he came and said, love your enemies. So that changed the game in itself. You know, that changes the game.
He knew what he was talking about when he said that. Because, you know, I'll be totally honest with you, I can love all day.
Right.
Look at that beautiful thing. I can love all day. I can love my family. I can love my girl. I can love my friends all day. But when you talking about love somebody that's actually throwing hate, shade, and, you know,
be rude. Backbiting,
sometimes
talking about you, that's not easy.
That's 2 prayers.
Yeah.
Like in 2 seconds. I'm like, God. No, you know, you acting different. God, be with me. You know, but think about it, that he made sure that he let us know, because we have to love thy enemy. We have to. Because at the end of the day, it's easy to love people that you love. Yeah, it is. It's easy. You know, look at my twin sister. Look
at my twin brother.
Don't you start that. Have me
Ramos, stop it. But, and I think also when you come to meet with someone, you want to make sure that you have a purpose. Know your purpose. Yeah. Know that you want to reach a solution. You're not coming just to be like, well, you did this and I didn't like it, or, you know, you did that time. You know, we're not going to rehash and go tick for tack, because I feel like that's counterproductive when you're trying to resolve a conflict. You know, we all know what happened. We were all there. Like I love what Kobe and Shaq were saying. When they talked about the things that happened, but they were basically giving accounts. They weren't sitting there saying, well, you offended me when you did that, or you offended me when no, they were just like, man, you remember when this happened? Man, this is how I was feeling at the time, or this how, you know, this was feeling at the time. So when you meet with someone to try to resolve the conflict, don't try to go tick for tack. I feel like that's counterproductive. Just be like, okay, this is what happened. I apologize, but can we move forward?
Well, I guess when I think about resolving conflict, I always think about, you know, the reality shows up today. And how they show you exactly what not to do, right? In resolving the conflict. Yeah. You know, they meet up, at a public place.
Then they just start fighting, like throwing drinks.
Well, yeah, that's the first thing they do.
Whoa.
First thing they say, hold on, wait. And of course, let me say this: reality TV is not really reality.
It's
TV.
really not.
So let me just say that.
Yeah.
But I watch them. If you want to see how not to resolve conflict, just watch that.
Yeah.
No, because at the end of the day, they always come mad. Well, this is what you did. This is what it is. And they go back and forth until their emotions get so high to the point they say, you know what? That's what I think about it. Then they rubber meets the road, and then you get those people that just so happen to be in the back, come and break everything up. I would say this, please don't follow reality TV.
No.
But I like how you're saying as far as the conversation with Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah.
I feel like they were mature enough. They sat down and they said, look, let's go about this, in a mature way. In a mature fashion, because at the end of the day, that's only how we're gonna resolve things. Like, I'm gonna bring my faults to the table, and I'm gonna put it on the table. And I'm gonna tell you, at the end of the day, at the time when I was younger, in the past, I couldn't see my faults because I can only see what I wanted. But these are my faults. I apologize, and you know what? I do appreciate your greatness. And at the end of the day, that's how you should start off any conflict. At the end of the day, I have faults. I do. But I appreciate your greatness. And I think once we appreciate each other's greatness, a lot of conflicts will be dissolved. Because you will find the beauty in people. And I'm telling you, if you find the beauty, it's going to outweigh the ugly or the dark side. Okay? Now, I know they have a shirt out there that say, no, come to the dark side, we have cookies. But we ain't talking about that. The good side, we have sunshine.
Yes, and love and peace and joy. And that's what God wants in His face.
We got a little hair.
And soul train, indeed, I like the hair. But and what you're saying is so true, Rylan. And I feel like hopefully these tips helped y'all in your lives with resolving conflict. We're still growing in our lives, and we definitely deal with conflict. I know we deal with conflict
every day.
And sometimes it goes well. Sometimes we be like, oh, we gotta pray about that and do better the next time. But it's okay. We're all works in progress, and we're all moving forward and trying to be who God would have for us to be. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and end that conversation with Dr. Rich. We hope to see you next time. And so we'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.